going on, everybody? Welcome into the Green Bay Packers Report. I am your host, Joey Petersen, and the Packers have released their first unofficial depth chart for the 2025 NFL season, and I'm here to break it down for you, give my top 5 takeaways from everything you missed right before the preseason game this Saturday against the New York Jets. Speaking of those Jets, our Jets Report host, Patrick Seatman, challenged me to a race to 50 subscribers. If you want us to beat them on Saturday, I know it's a preseason game, but you should always want to win. That means you want us to win right here on the YouTube side of things as well. If you have not subscribed, today's the perfect day to do so and show the Jets just a little bit of taste of the medicine they're going to be getting on Saturday night. Let's get into my depth chart takeaways. Starting off, number 1, to me, there's a little bit of an interesting wide receiver ordering that I think you guys need to see for yourself. So on the left side, we got all the starters that were listed on the depth chart. Romeo Doubs, Dontavian Wicks, and Jayden Reed. McCole Hardman, Malik Heath, and Matthew Golden are all the second stringers, the guys in that 2 deep for the wide receiver room. So my 2 takeaways from that, number 1, Savion Williams was not in the technical 6 deep of that wide receiver depth chart, right? So that's saying, as of right now on that unofficial one, if they're taking 6 wide receivers into the season, they're choosing a guy like Malik Heath over Savion Williams. The second thing that I noticed from it is Matthew Golden's not a starter. Now, to both of those, if I'm being 100% honest with you, I kind of expect them to shift during the preseason. I just am sitting there thinking there is no way Savion Williams is going to make this roster. There's no way Malik Heath is going to make it over Williams unless he continues to struggle with injuries like he has been over the past couple of weeks. And I just feel like there's no way you can look at this group of wide receivers and say Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, and Jayden Reed all should be starting over Matthew Golden. Okay, I'd get it for Doubs, I'd get it for Wicks, for Reed, but I feel like you gotta have a guy like Matthew Golden in that starting lineup. And I think some things are gonna change during preseason when he goes out there and he starts balling and cooking other people that are wearing different helmets. Be honest with me. Who do you think the wide receiver 1 is on this team? I know Matt LaFleur likes to say they don't have one, but we know they do. Who do you think it is? Let me know in the comment section down below. Let's go to the offensive line. From the receivers to the big boys up front, Jordan Morgan is officially a tackle. We know that he's been talked about a lot by Brian Gutekunst at being in that positional battle to be a tackle, but on this unofficial depth chart, he's officially listed there as a left tackle right behind Rasheed Walker. Again, left is starters, right is second string. You go Walker, Banks, Elston Jenkins. Interesting, Sean Ryan in there starting right guard, and then Zach Tom at that right tackle spot. For the backups, you got Jordan Morgan, Donovan Jennings, Jacob Monk, Travis Glover, and the newly acquired in the 2025 NFL Draft, Anthony Belton out of NC State. It kind of feels like this is going to be a big year for Jordan Morgan, okay? They tried him at right guard last year. He played tackle coming out of college. He was a first-round pick last year, right? There were a ton of really, really high hopes about him. And then he had a fine start, dealt with a lot of injuries. Didn't really play much. At one point was sidelined for the rest of the year. And then Brian Gutekunst says that he's going to try him out at left tackle. But then training camp rolls around, and he's not playing much left tackle. And now the unofficial depth chart comes off, and he's a second-string left tackle. There's been a lot of confusion, I feel like, with Jordan Morgan's role and his position with this team. I personally feel like he's better at guard. But honestly, like, if you drafted Anthony Belton to be Rasheed Walker's replacement, if you let him walk in free agency, then why is Jordan Morgan getting run that position as well? Then why'd you draft Anthony Belton? A lot of questions that need to be figured out up there at that offensive line. The third takeaway, last one on the offensive side of the football, let's talk running backs. Emmanuel Wilson is listed as the second-string running back over Chris Brooks. Now, it's also over Marshawn Lloyd. He was left off of that depth chart because of his injury. That groin injury that he's dealing with should be out from anywhere for 2 to 3 weeks. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Emmanuel Wilson. We're talking about Chris Brooks, okay? Green Bay has Emmanuel Wilson in that second string right behind Josh Jacobs. Now, this might surprise some. Personally, it doesn't really surprise me, okay? I looked at a ton of depth chart projections over the last couple of weeks, and a lot of people seem to think Chris Brooks is getting that starting nod or second string nod or even third string once Marshawn Lloyd comes back over Emmanuel Wilson. But I feel like Emmanuel Wilson proved to everybody last season over 500 yards after Marshawn Lloyd went down. He had to step up to be the second running back on this roster. I feel like he proved his worth. And at the end of the day, I feel like this team's only going to take 3 running backs. I think they'd rather take 7 wide receivers than 4 running backs, okay? And so you're only going to take Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, and then one of those 2 guys, and from everything being indicated right here on the unofficial depth chart, that guy might be Emmanuel Wilson. Who do you think makes that roster over each other? Is it Emmanuel Wilson or is it Chris Brooks? You let me know in the comment section down below by typing their initials. Coming up, we're going to flip it over to the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to give you 2 more takeaways you need to know about the unofficial depth chart. But before that, I'm going to give you some more information you need to know. This Packers t-shirt, $26. That's like 25% off. Get it while you still can get that deal. Chatsports.com/Packers t-shirt. I know that preseason's coming up. I don't know if you're going to a game or not, but if you are, you can look the best, feel the best by rocking this Packers t-shirt. You got the full cool football logo, officially licensed, Nike tee for just $26. You're not going to be able to find that anywhere else. Chatsports.com/Packers t-shirt. Made it super easy for you. I put that link in the comments and description of today's video. So head down there to take advantage of this sale. Lucas Van Ness is a starter for your defensive line. On the opposite side of Rashawn Gary is the former first-round pick out of Iowa. Again, left starters, right second strings. Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Devontae White, and Lucas Van Ness. That's how it goes from edge, defensive tackle, other edge. And then in that second string spots, we got Brenton Cox Jr., Carl Brooks, Colby Wooden, and Kingsley Enagbari. After the family night game, Justice Mosqueda said that it's pretty clear that Lucas Van Ness is going to be the starter opposite Rashawn Gary. He played in 20 of the 22 defensive snaps before mass subs entered the mix. Something must have changed, he went on to say, between now and the trade deadline, when the Packers chose to play Kingsley Enagbari as Preston Smith's replacement following Smith's in-season trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I got a feeling like what changed was they feel like Lucas Van Ness took a massive jump from year 2 to year 3. They always say that's when you take the biggest jump in your career, and we can see right there he didn't really do it from year 1 to year 2 outside of quarterback pressures and quarterback pressure percentage, and so this is a big year for Lucas Van Ness and the Packers. I feel like this is the year that we find out if that first-round pick was wasted or not. Now, if he gives you fine snaps, you're not going to say he's a bust, but you might say and look back at that first round just a couple years ago and say, man, we really could have gone somewhere else and gotten someone to give us a little bit more production. But I've got a lot of good hopes about Lucas Van Ness in 2025. How many sacks do you think he gets this season? Let me know in the comment section down below and give me your answer. My final takeaway from the unofficial depth chart being released, Baron Sorrell, the edge rusher out of the University of Texas, was not in the 2 deep. I don't know if you noticed that when we threw up this depth chart just a couple of minutes ago. But if you look at the second stringers, right, we got Brenton Cox and we got Kingsley Enagbari at the edge rushers. Now, everybody on this unofficial depth chart, there was 47 spots. That means there's 6 spots still to go to make that 53-man roster. But it is a little bit surprising, in my opinion, because every single person I feel like out there at training camp was talking about how dominant Baron Sorrell was. Now, he's going to have the ability and the shot to prove that in the preseason coming up this Saturday and every Saturday from here on out until August 23rd. But still, I was a little bit surprised that he was left off, just given how all accounts were pointing to the fact that he was being dominant. I do expect this to change midway through the season, though. I just have really strong hopes about Sorrell. 50 pressures last year at Texas, 44 tackles, 11 tackles for loss, 6 sacks. The thing I love about him is he got better every single year of college, okay? And last year, they lost a ton of talent in the 2024 NFL draft, especially on the interior. So that means there's just more pressure, more focus on him coming from the opposing team's offensive linemen, and yet he still had the best season of his career. I think that trajectory continues to go up, and I think he dominates for the Green Bay Packers. That's it for today's show. Appreciate you guys for joining me. Make sure you got me followed on social media. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram more than anything, though. Make sure you subscribe right here at the Packers Report for daily coverage of your favorite team in green and gold. And until next time, go Pack Go.